Welcome to the channel, welcome to the channel, welcome to the channel, yeah. Hello, it's Kamaria. How you doing? Happy New Year. Woohoo. This is a final flip through of my 2024 reading journal. Look at how chunky she got. I literally had to split her in half because she was getting so chunky and it was breaking the binding. So she's had a lot of surgeries, okay? But I had my stats from Storygraph on the screen for a little while, so you can see what you can see. I read 150 books. I did have a couple of books that I could have finished, but I purposely did not finish them so I could stay at 150. Because that just seemed like a very even number. I just kind of wanted to show you from the cover to cover what it looked like when it's done. I know I do a lot of wrap ups and stuff, so you've probably seen most of these if you watch those, but here's the final thing. At the beginning of 2024, I tried to do a collage for every single book that I read, and that got tiring real quick, especially I read a lot. It's my special interest. It's my hobby. I don't watch TV really, so I fill my hours. People doom scroll, people binge watch whole seasons of TV in a day. I read books. Everybody has their own hobbies. People have a fantasy football league. Okay? Let people have their hobbies. Because people always how do you read so much? Do you not have a life? I'm well, you watched all 8 seasons of Game of Thrones in 2 days. Does that mean you don't have a life? People be watching Lord of the Rings, and those are 3-hour movies. Okay? If you can listen to a novella in audio in 3 hours. You watch all of the Lord of the Rings movies, that's literally a book. But whatever. Let people like things. That's all I gotta say. But these are just some of my spreads and, the layouts. Every single month it was different because I couldn't really stick to a system that I liked. And, you get influence, you watch other people and how they do it. And I was okay, let me try out what this person did in their reading journal. And also I just like things to switch it up. I get too bored, But one thing stays the same. If I like a book, I'll make a little collage about it. I like tracking my stats. My top genres for the year weren't surprising at all. I read a lot of romance. I read a lot of queer stuff. I read a lot of people of color. None of it surprised me. None of it. And whenever I try to go outside of my comfort zone, I read pretty diversely. I read a lot of different genres, but I do like what I like, but it's really not hard for me. I'll try to read more nonfiction, and then I'll read a couple more than I usually would, but nonfiction isn't my bag. It has to be one of my special interests. If it's something that I want to deep dive into and learn about, I'll read a nonfiction, but I can't read memoirs or it's hard for me unless I'm obsessed with that person, to read nonfiction, and a lot of people say that when you're autistic, you only want nonfiction. And it's that is not true. It is not. That's a fallacy. I prefer fiction over everything else. But each month might have a challenge. I did a lot of readathons, and it's just because it's fun, not necessarily because I feel I have to do something. I just, doing readathons for me is just a little, a little extra seasoning. I'm going to be reading anyway. Might as well try to do something different or, focus on something or make it fun. Because sometimes, like anybody else, I get into reading slumps, and sometimes it helps me keep reading if I have a goal, a small goal. But it's like a lot of times these readathons are trying to like promote awareness of a certain issue or something, and then I realize, oh, like a queer literature readathon. I read a lot of gay books anyway. Asian readathon. I'm like, oh, I read a lot. Like, I read diversely already. I read across the board, different genres, different types of books already. I was doing a disability readathon, and then I was realizing how many books I read that have disabilities in them, but like my brain wasn't registering it because I'm disabled. So I didn't look at a character having a disability like, oh, look, I'm reading a book about somebody who's disabled because they were just a character who happened to have a disability. You know what I mean? Because disabled people are people that deal with regular things. So sometimes my brain didn't even register, oh, that person had a disability because people with disabilities are capable. Whatever. So, but anyway, I'm just rambling while y'all look at pretty pictures. But I had a great year. I always read a lot, and I always find authors that I love and different things that I like and resonate with. So I hope that some of these spreads maybe inspired you or anything like that, because without beauty and art in this world, you know, it's a very boring place. Hope you liked the flip through. I hope you liked my ramble, and I'll see you in the next one, guys. Bye.